All right, here I am, you guys. Sorry for the delay. Technical difficulties and interruptions. Anyway, let's talk about this year. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. And give a thumbs up, make a comment, a respectful comment, and set up bell notifications so you will not miss an upload. Let me make sure, okay, my audio is working. Okay, today's video is about Michael Jackson versus Prince Rogers Nelson. You know, they've been compared a lot. And I have to admit, when I was in high school, I used to buy those pins. Well, they were called buttons, and you put the picture of your favorite artist on there. And I would have my jacket with so many pins of different artists, mainly Michael Jackson and Prince. People would stop me at school so they could look at my buttons. To tell you the truth, they're both two different types of artists with two different styles of music. So I never really could compare them as one being better than the other. I like them both. Okay. They have two different personalities though. And like Michael, the difference between them that I know of is that Prince, I believe Prince could read sheet music and he could play several instruments. And as far as Michael, I think the only instrument that he really could play is the piano, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he didn't read music. But he was the greatest entertainer. I would say Michael was the greatest entertainer. He could do the whole thing. He had phenomenal singing vocals, out of this world dancing. And Prince had this really, really good talent for playing instruments, for playing all these different musical instruments. And he was very creative. He was very in charge of the direction of his music. And he was all right. He was an all right dancer and singer. But I think if I had to choose, Michael was the better dancer. I was going to say the better singer. I still think Michael is a better singer. But I don't know if he could hit those real high falsetto notes that Prince would hit. But it's unfair to compare them because they are so different, right? So we're going to talk about the rivalry nobody could ignore. And I don't see it as a rivalry. They were just both good at what they do for their different reasons, and they were both very competitive. But at the same time, I think that they had mutual respect for one another. In the 1980s, two musical geniuses ruled the world, Michael Jackson and Prince. Both were mysterious, both were perfectionists, and both of them changed music forever. But behind the scenes, there was a rivalry that became legendary. Michael was the global superstar, polished, explosive, and family friendly. Prince, on the other hand, was the rebel genius, edgy, unpredictable, and deeply private and mysterious. The media constantly compared them. Who was more talented? Who was the better dancer? Who was the true musical genius? And according to people close to both artists, they absolutely paid attention to each other. So they learned from one another. Michael admired Prince's musical abilities. Prince admired Michael's worldwide impact, but neither wanted to stand in the other's shadow. One of the most famous stories happened during the recording of the song Bad. Michael reportedly wanted Prince to sing the duet with him, but Prince turned it down. And according to Quincy Jones, Prince joked, "The first line is, 'Your butt is mine,' because there's no way I'm singing that to Michael Jackson." Yeah, I remember that interview because actually the way it went out of Prince's own mouth was that the first line is, "Your butt is mine." So he said, I don't know who he think he's singing that to, but he's sure not singing that to me, and I'm definitely not singing that to him. So already we have a problem. So, but Prince, he could be a little messy sometimes because he didn't even want to do. I think he was also asked to be a part of the "We Are the World," that song they did with everybody. It was supposed to be um, a fundraiser. They begged and begged and begged for him to do it, and Prince turned it down. And if I recall right, I think Prince sent the music back to them, but it was his version of it. Now, how cocky is that? That is so rude. But Prince is such a perfectionist, and he likes to be in control. There's just no way he's going to allow somebody to just give him some music that they want him to do. If he wants to do your music, he will come to you. He will come to you himself directly. But it wasn't that often that he did other people's music. He always did his own thing. He wanted full control of the writing, of the artistry, of the choreography, everything. He was the main man there. But then even though Prince didn't like the line, "Your butt is mine," come on now. You mean to tell me there's no way that Michael or whoever wrote that line couldn't just change that line if it meant, because you got to be honest. I mean, what dude would want to be singing that line? I can totally understand what Prince is saying about that. Some people wouldn't care. They get to do it with Michael Jackson, but I don't think Prince was a star in his own right. So he wasn't all goo-eyed or, oh, Michael Jackson want me to do a song with him. He wasn't. He was a star himself at that point. So I think that they should have at least let him change that line and suggest a better line. Because to tell you the truth, um, I would have loved to have seen that collaboration. And now they're both passed away, so you only get an opportunity once in that was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I would have loved to have seen that. Fans have debated for years whether the comment was playful or personal. But the rivalry went deeper than jokes. Prince reportedly disliked how commercial the music industry had become. Meanwhile, Michael focused heavily on massive global success. So they represented two completely different approaches to fame. Michael wanted to unite the world. Prince wanted complete artistic freedom. Let's talk about that James Brown incident. If you have not seen that video, look it up. Um, I don't know what it would be called, but it's a video where James Brown is having I guess a show. Michael comes on stage and sings and dances a little bit, and then he whispers in James Brown ear that Prince is here. So they call Prince up on the stage. Prince looked like he is high as heck. And he gets on there and just embarrasses himself and falls off the balcony. I mean, off of the stage. You go and look at it. If you haven't already, go and look at it. But that was one of the most unforgettable moments between Michael and Prince. And it happened on stage with a legend like James Brown, which they both respected, had high regard for, and was inspired by. Can you imagine that? Making a fool out of yourself in front of somebody that you looked up to? Oh, what a nightmare. So this is how it went. During a concert, James Brown invited Michael Jackson on stage unexpectedly now. And then Michael danced flawlessly and electrified the crowd. Then Michael whispered something to James Brown, and suddenly Prince was called to the stage. And Prince appeared riding a motorcycle in a dramatic entrance. Actually, he did not appear riding a motorcycle. He was riding on the back of his bodyguard, making a dramatic entrance. But things quickly became chaotic. Prince's performance looked wild and awkward compared to Michael's polished moves. And then at one point, Prince accidentally knocked over part of the stage equipment. It was a prompt on the stage, okay? And I think Prince thought that it was actually real. And when he leaned on it, it was too late for him to realize it was light as a feather. And he just leaned on it and fell right off the stage. So, wow. And then, of course, I think Prince always was paranoid about whether Michael Jackson set him up. But, yeah, the crowd didn't know. I'm sure the crowd didn't know what to think. And then to this day, fans still debate whether Prince was embarrassed or simply being Prince. Uh, he's human just like all of us. Ain't no way in the world that man wasn't embarrassed. That's why he was so angry about it. Despite the competition, there was also deep respect between them. Prince attended Michael's concerts privately. Michael reportedly kept track of Prince's music constantly. And he attended some of Prince's performances. Both artists pushed each other creatively, without even speaking directly. And together they helped define what pop and R&B became in the 1980s and beyond. Without Michael Jackson, there is no king of pop. Without Prince, there is no blueprint for total artistic control. But they were total opposites, but together they changed music forever. And some rivalries destroy careers, but this one created history. And as you can see, we all know, Prince passed away back in 2016, April 21st, 2016. And of course, Prince and Michael died June 25th, 2009. And Prince was very, very affected when Michael died. He was very hurt when Michael died. If you read about it, let me see what it said. Hold on. Let me pull that up. But from what I remember reading is that he locked himself in his room for a week. He stopped all recording for a week. And as much as Prince likes to do music and record, which I will be doing a video um, on Prince, everything there is to know about Prince. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Prince was a workaholic. For him to not even want to do music for an entire week, wow. He admired him more than he would let on. And now, there are two legends that have passed away. And but their music still is still alive to this day. And they were working on a biopic for Prince, but the family pulled the plugs on it. And I'm really hoping that they change their mind, because the fans, Prince still have fans out there that want to know him, because Prince was so private, so mysterious. But now that he's passed away, now there's this hunger to connect with him again and to really know him in a different way. So I'm hoping that his family will reconsider. I mean, if there's parts of the movie that the family is not comfortable with, then I would rather see the movie with with it scrubbed than to not see anything. I would love to see a movie on Prince's life. Okay. Like, even though Purple Rain was um a very popular, successful movie, it's still not the same as them doing a whole biopic on Prince. Um, so I'm hoping the family reconsiders and maybe edit some things out the same way they had to do for the Michael movie. They had to remove some things, and that they would put that movie out, especially being if they after seeing how successful this biopic Michael has been. And my daughter went to see the movie tonight, actually. Um, and this is her third time seeing it. And this is like 2 weeks or so later. And she said that, and on a Sunday night, she said the theater was full of people. I'm like, that just goes to show the effect and the talent that Michael had. And I'm sure that people would be just as excited to see Prince's biopic too. Um, Prince's reaction to Michael Jackson's death on June 25th, 2009, the entire world stopped. And fans had gathered outside the hospital. Music stations paused their regular programming. Celebrities everywhere reacted with shock. Whether you are a fan or not, I'm sure everybody knows where they were the moment they heard that Michael Jackson had died. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I remember where I was. But many people wondered one thing: how did Prince react? Prince was known for guarding his emotions carefully in public. He rarely gave interviews and he rarely explained himself and almost never spoke openly about personal feelings. But after Michael's death, people close to Prince said he was deeply affected. During concerts shortly after Michael passed away, Prince reportedly played Michael Jackson's songs and paid tribute to him on stage. And I thought I would never see that happen. And at one performance, Prince told the crowd, the music lives on. And he also encouraged audiences to appreciate artists while they are still alive. Fans noticed something unusual during those tributes. Prince appeared emotional. For two men constantly compared throughout their careers, Michael's death seemed to remind Prince how connected their journeys truly were. Both had been child prodigies, both lived under enormous fame, both battled pressure from the music industry, and both became symbols larger than life itself. Some musicians later said Prince became quieter and more reflective after Michael died. There were also reports that Prince became more concerned about health and stress and the demands of touring. And many fans believe Michael's death deeply impacted how Prince viewed fame and mortality. Even though the media focused heavily on their rivalry, in the end, Prince understood something few people could, what it actually felt like to live as Michael Jackson. They competed, inspired each other, pushed music into the future. And when Michael Jackson died, the world lost a legend. But Prince lost the only artist who truly understood the strange reality of being larger than life. So it doesn't really go into that was an art that was something I was reading off of. But it didn't really I know there's more to that. Prince reaction. Because there's a whole thing. Michael. Yeah. Prince was, let's see. Prince was profoundly shaken by Michael Jackson's passing. Rather than offering public sound bites, he quietly canceled rehearsals at Paisley Park, locked himself in his bedroom for days to grieve, and later spent an entire night reflecting on Jackson's musical genius and showmanship. When the news broke, Prince was rehearsing in Switzerland for the Montreal Jazz Festival, and he immediately sent his band home and isolated himself. Broadcaster and friend Tavis Smiley, who was close with both artists, recalled sitting with Prince on a hotel rooftop in Switzerland shortly after the tragedy. And Prince talked for hours about his immense respect for Michael's gift and showmanship. Prince largely avoided making public statements about the death, though he was known to occasionally play subtle instrumental nods to Jackson's hits, like Billie Jean, during his live shows as a quiet tribute. In a subsequently released, never published interview, Prince later noted that he felt too close to the tragedy and commented on the intense pressure that leads massive pop icons down that same heartbreaking path. And yeah, so I think I know it changed me. It made me feel like music died when he died. And I felt like that's it. I'm no longer inspired to do music. I wanted to do music because of Michael Jackson. And then once he died, I lost the desire to do it. But of course, with time, I eventually started being inspired to write again and do some things. So I've been doing some writing and recording again. But I can understand the shock that Prince had, because who would I for some reason you just cannot believe that he could die. You know, you always felt like he was just larger than life, and then that he had such a big presence on earth, that how can we imagine life without him being in it somewhere? Same with Prince. I was so shocked when Prince died. I was like, what? My daughter is the one that told me, and she texted me. And I think I was home on my lunch break, and I was in my room. And she texted me, and she said, "What?" She said, "What the heck? Prince died?" And I'm like, "What you mean Prince died?" I turned my TV on, and there it was on TMZ. I was heart. It was like going through a whole double heartbreak, because they influenced me so much as a teenager as far as music. And so that's all for today. And I will be doing a more detailed video on Prince and things that we may or may not know about him. So stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe. Where is